Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only, please gamble responsibly. Hello and welcome to the ROKER RAPPORT XTRA podcast, and for a fourth time this season, can you believe it? They let me back. It's me, James Lowson, covering for Graham, and this week I'm delighted to say we've been joined by a returning guest. It's Rochdale fan Alex. Alex, how are you doing this evening?
Hello, good evening, James. Nice to meet you. I'm doing well, yourself?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Very well. Since you're a returning guest, Alex, we'll start with the tough one. Wanting to know how confident you are that Rochdale are going to get out of this mad 13-team relegation battle that we've got going on.
In all fairness, I think now it's back in our own hands. That's going to help us. A few games before Brian Barry Murphy became our caretaker, I had a hope. I thought we'd be probably bottom of the pile by now. However, I think we've won twice, drew twice in the last four. Defence seems a lot more firmer. To say it was like the most vulnerable defence in League One. Putting in entirely at centre back, getting in Andy Lonergan on loan, and just better tactics in general. I think we might have more of a chance. I'm not going to bank on it. We still have to obviously make up, and our goal difference is absolutely terrible. But that being said, I think the quality of teams in the lower end of League One this season, I think it's poorest standards. So I'm just hoping maybe we can get our way out of it and do another great escape. Hopefully.
Good stuff. And Andy Lonergan is that former Preston journeyman, former league, been around forever. Is he your keeper now?
Yeah, well, he would have been the keeper for Saturday, but the thing is, we've signed him from Middlesbrough, and his loan has ironically just ended just before we play Sunderland. So we'll be playing Josh Lillis in net more likely. Lillis is an absolute geese. Like I think he's had over 250 games for Dale. He's been in there both promotion seasons. And to be honest, he's not a bad keeper, but when we see the golfing class compared to Andy Lonergan, who is obviously, as you said, he's been at various championship clubs, it's going to be a bit of an adjustment, but I'm just hoping he can come in straight on form and have the organisation in order to keep us defensively sound and keep us in the game on Saturday.
Yeah, you sort of hope with it being a keeper that's experienced, that the players know, that's been around for a while. It's not like sort of when your first team goalie's injured and it's a 20-year-old who's been back up for 3 years or we've had been at the conference. Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, we've had a few keepers at the beginning. We had a lad called Marcus Norman. He came in from the MLS. I forgot which team he came from, but he came over. He didn't really suit English football at all. Numerous mistakes. We had a spell around Christmas where we kept losing like 4 and 5 goals, like all over the shop. We lost at home to Bradford 4-0, Doncaster 5-0. He played at Doncaster, and it was one of the worst goalkeeping cameos I've seen. So he won't be that bad the list, but it's just the drop in standard, because Lonergan is probably the best keeper we can hope for within our budget. But obviously it's just emergency loan, so just hoping Josh can come in there and just keep up the form. And keep up the relationship with the defenders. He knows the defence in front of him, obviously. We've been at the club for many years, but I'm just hoping he can keep it up, because if we're going to get anything out of Saturday, it's going to be keeping Hughes quiet rather than us trying to go on the ascendancy.
Yeah, no, it's mad, sort of. Like, I didn't realise until we went down last year quite how big the gap in quality can be between different goalkeepers, because we had 3 terrible ones last year. And you look around the Championship and sort of the difference between, say, I don't know, a Wayne Hennessy or someone who's maybe like the 22nd best goalkeeper in England, and then a mid-table Championship keeper's huge. And again, a good League One goalkeeper and a bad League One goalkeeper, because we've got a quite good one this year. It's just it's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, especially even in Premier League standards these days, you can see the amount of points a goalkeeper can pick up for you, not just in the Premier League, but any league professionally, is outstanding. And you see that in Leagues One especially. I think Luton have always had a tight defence this season. Sunderland always seem quite good at the back. But I think you've also got good players in front of him, like Baldwin, I think. Watched him the other day at Wembley, had a good game. You have more experience in front of you compared to most League One clubs. Obviously, Cattermole, but also Ledbetter. He's a fantastic acquisition for you. So I think Sunderland, in terms of their overall base, is set up really well to go on in an attack league rather than Rochdale, where our defence has been a weakness really for the last couple of years and almost cost us last year. I'm just hoping it doesn't do it again, but we'll see.
Yeah, it feels like with us now we've sort of got Ledbetter playing at the base of our midfield. We've got a bit more confidence since Flanagan and Baldwin have started playing together again to play out a bit more. And because we know we've got a good goalkeeper behind them, there has been sort of a quiet confidence returning to our defence that maybe went away for a couple of months or maybe wasn't always there before. But we have started to look more solid recently than at any point before in the season. I think part of that as well is maybe teams are a bit more defensive, maybe they're a bit more fearful of coming to Sunderland. Maybe now we're getting to sort of the business end of the season. Everybody's still in the hunt to stay up. Maybe teams are being a bit more cautious than they were when it was a free hit.
You'd rather be playing teams at the top. Maybe teams are going to come out and attack rather than playing teams like maybe Rochdale. I mean, obviously you played Accrington the other day and that's a bit of a breeze for you. But I think if you're playing teams away from home and nitty-gritty grounds like you'll never really have been to grounds like Spotland and the likes of Stanley's ground until this year. And I think it's this close compactness and the fact that teams will just disturb your pattern of play and not play into your hands, whereas maybe in the Championship, Premier League, teams will happily come out, let you have a ball and see if you can just break you down tactically. In League One, it's more about subduing the opposition.
It's an interesting one because obviously that Accrington game had sort of banana skin written all over it, sort of Wembley hangover or whatever. But I think because we lost on Sunday such a devastating way, having put so much into the game, we just went after them. We were incredible first 20 minutes. And I feel as if there was kind of that motivation to put Sunday right.
Yeah.
And McGeady obviously scores an amazing goal to start the game. And it's like, okay, we're on it. We want this. We missed a few chances.
Yeah.
Grigg gets the second one before half time, and it was like we were really up for it. So you wonder whether third game in a week, there's going to be changes to the team again. There's players sort of carrying niggles who may or may not be playing, whether maybe you guys can take advantage of the big week we've had. But that's going to be the really interesting thing, is just sort of how tough our group of players is, how much they want it, and where they sort of go from here, whether they can sort of step up to the plate or whether this is one of these games we look back on when we're in the playoffs and think that was one we should have really had that we ended up drawing.
But saying that, I saw at Accrington, you had I haven't seen him early in the season, that Kaz Sterling dude.
Yeah.
Is he new in the team, him, or?
He was brought in on loan last day on deadline day from Tottenham. So really highly thought of academy player that's just not really played immense football. I think in sort of academy football, he's quite highly rated. I think he likes to think of himself as an Aguero, a smaller number 9 that plays on the shoulder. But we've really not seen him. He came on as a sub when Grigg was injured, sort of first game after we signed him. Looked raw, looked like he had talent, but looked raw. And then he's barely got off the bench, and I think it was only really with sort of the fact we were playing 4-4-2 and Grigg struggling with an ankle problem, and Ross wanting to keep the 4-4-2 shape that we actually saw Sterling. So it'll be interesting actually. If Grigg's fit, I think we'll play 4-4-2, and it'll be him and Charlie Wyke up front. So maybe you'll see Sterling come off the bench. If Grigg isn't fit, we'll probably go with Honeyman in the midfield 3. And it'll be White leading the line, and then maybe you see Sterling, or if Grigg's fit enough to come off the bench. But we still don't really know a lot about Sterling because he's just sort of just one of these where we sign a young unproven player and then we get him and it's like oh shit, he's a young unproven player. We don't really know what we've got here. So it's kind of he's kind of there for that.
More exciting players, because I think that was the case when Madju broke on the scene for you last season, wasn't it? He'd been he made a couple of appearances in the Prem, and then obviously had the experience of last year and built on it this year. But I think did he go in January? Did he? Or
yeah, he went in January. I mean, that was one of the depressing things in prepping for this podcast was watching his 2 goals back against you, it was like, I forgot how good he was. It's like,
he ran us ragged in September, but I think Chris Maguire did, but I don't think he's fit for Saturday, is he?
Yeah, correct. He had an injury that initially looked like it was going to be a season ender against Gillingham, but he's already pretty close to coming back. But I think the target's next week for him. But yeah, he was brilliant. That was sort of like the main things I remembered from that game, was that it was a brilliant Maguire game. It was that McGeady still wasn't fitting in the team at that point. No. And
I think Lyndon Gooch was on the wing that day, but again, he scored I think he scored a goal and got an assist or so.
Yeah, he scored. He won the penalty. Did he score 2? Yeah. Would he have taken the penalty and then scored the 4th in the second half?
He could have done. I think he did. I think it was a magic brace. And I think Gooch must have got the brace, because I remember he cutting on his left foot for one.
Yeah.
And I remember you've got that chant, that Gooch chant.
Yeah.
And I think I heard it a couple of times, like after a goal. So I think he might have scored the other one.
Memory. Yeah, he did. I watched it back yesterday. He got the pen, and then because he scored a similar goal cutting onto his left against Man City under 21s in our trade run. And it's a weird one, because I think teams defend against us and they sit back off us, especially at home, it's like one of those things where he's obviously got that in his locker, but he doesn't really get a chance to do it because teams double up on him, and he doesn't have the sort of football intelligence yet to know when to sort of drive in and take the shot on and when not to. He's another one who's sort of a question mark for the team on Saturday, because Lewis Morgan came on against Accrington and played really well. And he played really well in the XTRA trophy final.
But those options you want, aren't they, really, keeping the squad fresh, rotating, especially around this point with like 7 games to go?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something we touched on before we started, is we're sort of hitting our stride now, and I think the depth of our squad might be one of the main reasons why. I think it might be that we do have 2 options in a lot of places, and people can come in and play well, and especially sort of teams in the bottom half of League One probably don't have those same level of options. I think that's something we're seeing at the moment. I wanted to sort of get back to Brian Barry Murphy. Obviously, the big news this week is he's got his 2-year deal. He's going to be Rochdale manager past this season, no matter what happens. And I was just sort of wondering if you could sort of explain a bit what he's changed tactically and what sort of worked for him in these 4 games.
I think with Brian, like obviously before him was Keith. I won't lie, I was quite wounded when he got sacked. I feel like with Keith Hill, he's the best manager I've ever had. 2 promotions, best cup runs, took us to Wembley twice. Like for a club of Rochdale, he was working miracles. But this season, I think the relationship between him and the players deteriorated, and also the fan base towards the end. Yeah. I mean, I'll always have the utmost respect for the guy for what he changed Rochdale from a club who was heading towards the conference into a club who's had stability in League One for 5 years. But at the end of the day, there was no response from the players. We were just getting worse and worse. The attitude on the field was appalling at times, especially when you're looking at games like Doncaster, Bradford, Plymouth, smashings in all essence. And I think it just came to the point where they didn't have another option on the board, was to try something new before the end of the season. Brian was a member of Keith Hill's backroom staff. He's been there for probably about 3-4 years, maybe even longer than that. Technically he's still under contract as a player.
Oh, wow.
So if he does come on Saturday, that'll be a bit of a surprise. But I think the best thing about Brian is that with Keith, he was an excellent manager. You know, he knew his tactics, he knew his recruitment up until maybe you'd say about last year or so. But with Brian, he's always looked better at building relationships with the players and making sure that they're all on the same hymn sheet. And from that, especially this season, last 4 games, the players are putting in more graft for each other, they're more plucky at the back, they're more hearts in it for each other. For example, against Scunthorpe, I think the other week, we took the lead in like the 11th, 12th minute, and then Scunthorpe equalised 4 minutes later. Now, Underhill, that's a game that maybe could curve towards maybe a loss or a disappointing draw. If we drew that game or lost that game, for me, we didn't have a chance of staying up. We need to beat the teams around us. Fortunately, we got our act together. Aaron Wilbrahimovic, he turns into an absolute goat. For some reason, he's not been like that all season. He's always had a little lack of confidence. But in the last 4 games, his form's picked up. Matty Dawn, he's been an integral player for us over the last 5-6 years. His form's getting back to where it was. Joe Bunny's got recruited. Ryan McLaughlin, the full-backs. And there's more solidness in the team, and I think it's the belief that Brian is giving them, and saying not to put your heads down when you go 1-0 down, to come back, or not to give in when you go and maybe concede an equaliser, to make sure you keep going. His record at the moment, it's a weird decision in my opinion to hire him now. I think it could be a honeymoon period for a manager, especially 4 games. He can't really, through the opponents we've faced, judge him, and that's some scrutiny from some of the fan base. But I think, in all essence, for a club like Rochdale, he knows the club inside out. He knows how the club engineered success in the past, and I'm hoping that his relationship with the players, and I think he gets on more better with the fans as well, could hopefully, even if he were to go down, bounce back straight away. I think in terms of his tactics, he's just using really what is given his disposal. He hasn't had a transfer window to come in. He's only really managed to sign Lonergan in terms of a loan signing recently, so he doesn't have that flexibility. Tactical-wise, more defensive, I'd say. Putting Joe Bunny at left back, giving more freedom for Matadon to go up the pitch has benefited him. Putting Robraham in as a more effective target partner of Henderson as well. And I think just calming the team down, and hopefully on Saturday we can see some sort of similar doggedness to maybe pick up a result. I'm not counting on it, but I think he's made us more of a proposition now than maybe the team you faced under Hill in September.
Do you have any idea sort of what the sort of mentality will be, the sort of team that will,
I think,
go for it on Saturday, or will it be one of the things where you'll wait and see after the first 20?
I think if you asked any Dale fan, they would take a point, whatever happens on Saturday. I'm not expecting. I think we have games against you and Portsmouth, and they're games which I don't expect anything from. So if we can get points from those 2 games, then I think we'll be laughing. However, obviously, with Sunderland's performance the other night, it's concerning. In terms of your squad depth, again, like if you were to bring on a player in the 60th minute, like say if you brought on maybe McGee doesn't start for some reason, he comes on, he runs ragged. So it's about preparing and timing the game right, I think. I think like up in Stadium of Light, we kept you quiet until half an hour had gone. And before that point, we had an excellent chance with Abraham 1-on-1, should have scored. We need to make sure if we have any opportunities, we're clinical. Because we're against, in essence, championship side in the making. So it's just making sure that if we do get a chance, we take them. And trying to keep Sunderland as out of the game, or trying to disrupt the game for as long as possible, in hope that it disturbs your game plan and helps to benefit ours. But to be honest, as I said, anything like a draw to us would be like a 3 points, to be fair.
Yeah, that was something we've had an issue with more at home than away from home, especially after sort of Wickham came and ended our 8-game win streak in all competitions or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think all the managers around the league saw, them lot got a point up there. Right, we need to frustrate this lot. We need to take our time with everything.
Yeah.
Throw-ins, free kicks, whatever. I mean, bending the rules, every team's going to do it. You've got to play to your advantage. But I think that's something we had a problem with, sort of like Shrewsbury, Bristol Rovers, Bradford all played us around that time. And all sort of gave us difficult games or tense games. And it was sort of doing just what you said. It was sort of causing problems. It was slowing the game down. It was being sensible. It was sort of taking their time with everything. And I'd like to think sort of coming towards the end of the season, we know how to not let that get under our skin or stop us from playing. But it's definitely a tactic that's worked against us before and could probably work against us again.
Yeah. Well, I remember I think the game against you in September was what we were trying to achieve, is trying to just make sure that maybe if we got to half-time on that game and it was still 0-0, then maybe I'd have fancied ourselves from getting something. But as soon as we shipped the first goal, I think we conceded 2 more before the break and the game was dead.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to also expect from the smaller clubs in League One. Sunderland, obviously, are a much bigger club than our level. So look at Sunderland rightfully as a scalp. It was the same, really, for when teams like Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United were down here. Whilst I was a Dale fan, we played those 2 teams. It's the same approach. Teams want to take points off them. Teams want to turn up to Bramall Lanes, to Hillsborough, to Stadium of Lights, and try and put their little team on the map and trying to get more recognition nationally from that. And I think on Saturday it's going to be one of the biggest games for some Dale players in the history. Like playing Sunderland at home, playing a big club like them. Unless they've played in maybe the games against Tottenham and Leeds of the last 5-6 years, Sunderland will be the biggest team they've played.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was a point, it's sort of levelled out a bit, but there was a point where I think through 25 games, like 17 or 18 teams had lost their game after playing against us. And there was a feeling that you just run that extra 5-10 meters a bit quicker, you chase down that loose ball a bit more. That teams were really sort of thinking, this is it, let's get at them, let's put them under pressure. And like I said, I think that has changed a bit as the season's gone on, as sort of legs get tired, as sort of the novelty factor wears off. But we definitely did see that where there was a sense that, what, this team lost 3-0 to Luton last week, what's going on there? They look like absolute animals. They look like Atletico Madrid against us. What's going on?
I'm hoping that's not the case, really, because I'd rather win the game on Tuesday than beat you guys. Because we play Accrington away on Tuesday, and that for us is like a 6-pointer. If we beat Accrington, I think, you're starting to look up the table. If we drew both games, it'd be a nightmare. I'd rather lose against you on Saturday, save energy for the Accrington game, and make sure we put the show up there at the Crown Oil. And hopefully, not the Crown Oil, sorry, whatever, I don't know what thing Accrington's ground's called these days. And hopefully...
Yeah, it's the Wham. People were calling it the Wham Stadium last night. I thought that was really weird. I didn't have time to sort of properly research it because I was on match report duty, but I was seeing that sort of pop up on the Sunderland Twitter feed, sort of playing Wham as we enter the Wham Stadium. I'm like, what on earth is going on here?
That's Sunderland's day in the limelight sorted. I just want to see if we can maybe... That's the game I'd prefer to get points from. Sunderland's a glamour fixture on Saturday. This is a reason why I want us to stay in League One, is so... Because every once in a while you get a big team drop from the Championship, like we played against Southampton in recent years. Of course, the Sheffield clubs, we've played against Portsmouth quite consistently recently.
Yeah,
so it's just trying to keep those games up and trying, because that will get crowds in the gates. If we go down, like I bet there might be more local teams. We're not going to get the gates of, say, Sunderland coming away, or Portsmouth, or Plymouth, or Bradford, these sort of games.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to touch on. Is that something where fans sort of... Will the fans rise to the occasion? Are people at all bothered when we get half the stadium, or does it just improve the atmosphere around? What sort of are you expecting from Saturday?
Because you've got, I think you've got the away end, which is about 3,000.
Yeah,
3,000, and you get half the end behind the goal.
Yeah,
the TDS ends. That's, you're probably looking there, maybe touching on 4,000.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's an all-ticket game, so I think people do have to buy tickets in advance.
Yeah.
In all fairness, I think the pull of Sunderland should hopefully see Dale maybe get towards maybe 6,000-7,000 people in the ground. Hopefully more than that, because obviously it's a big game for both teams, and Sunderland obviously are a bigger fish than most teams in the league. I'm just hoping maybe the fans are more united. I think under Keith, fans were rightfully a bit aggrieved, a bit angry with what they were paying to see. Like, I went to some games this season, I just thought, why have I wasted, such and such on this? Like, I remember... I think I've only actually seen one win this season, flesh, at Spotland, and that was against Accrington.
Oh wow!
I've been to games in the New Year, but I didn't go to Scunthorpe and Shrewsbury at home. The only games we've won in the New Year at home. So we're pretty cursed, in all fairness. Our away form, I'd say, has been better this season. We seem to just do better away from home. I think the most frustrating part about this whole farce that we've got ourselves into is the fact that by Christmas, the game before Christmas against Blackpool, we won 2-1, and Blackpool were doing quite well at that point. And we were pretty much on like 30-odd points, and I thought, well, we need 20 points in like 20-odd games, we should be fine. And then we went in that run where we've lost like 9 games in 13 before the Brian Barry Murphy came in. And it put us right in the mare. And I'm just hoping that we haven't left it too late. And I'm hoping that the fan base has also realised this and comes and back the team, because last season we left it late again. We had many chances to get out of the relegation spot, didn't manage to seize them. But we had games in hand on that in that season. We had time on our side this season. Now we're getting towards 7 games left. We can't afford, if we get any sort of lead or any sort of draw, now we can't afford to chuck that away. We have to keep points up. And I hope that people realise that. But also, I think in terms of how we advertise, it's an all ticket. I don't know if that'll do a detriment to getting fans in on the day. Some people might want to think, oh, it's Sunderland, go on the day. Depends what the weather's like, depends what might be happening personally. And they've obviously now stopped that. Unless you go to the ticket office before like 11 o'clock on Saturday, you can't just turn up and go and buy the ticket and go into the game. So we'll see. I'm hoping we get a decent turnout. It'd be nice to see.
What sort of atmosphere are you expecting? Will the fans that do show up, the local ones, be raring to go?
I think, in all fairness, your fans will probably be more up for it. You have the away end has good acoustics. The thing is with Spotland, like, it's a very open ground, so even when it is quite noisy, it does kind of like get blockaded. Especially from the Sandy Lane end, like, it does keep kind of in the stand and doesn't really a lot of the time reach the players. And the best atmosphere I've seen at Dale is when we sold out all 3 stands against Leeds, and it was bouncing that day, and against Charlton last game of the season. Again, it was packed out, and again, created atmosphere and got people on the side. I'm just hoping. The thing is, if we concede and we see the away fans go for it, it'll deflate everybody, I think, and that's my worry. If we take the lead, then hopefully we can get one voice behind us and maybe try and cause a shock. But I'm expecting Sunderland to be the noisy ones. They've got something big to play for as well.
Feel good factors. Feel good factors still there as well after Trafalgar Square and Wembley Stadium.
We have a town hall in Dale. I don't think it's the same as Trafalgar.
But the loud and proud, definitely. As long as, like you say, we don't concede the first one, because nerves will kick in. I think that's happened a lot with us at some of these smaller grounds where
we're very close to the fan base at Rochdale.
Yeah, we've not scored.
Lane is pretty much 2 yards away from the touchline where the corner kick's taken. So it is. It can be quite intimidating. Say you're playing in the Stadium of Light all the time, playing in a Premier League standard stadium. You know, a bit more quality in terms of like the atmosphere and like the setup of the stadium compared to like maybe Spotland's ground. But for Spotland, for me, that's one of the reasons I love Dale, is that the ground is like that. Like, it's a niche ground. It's not changed. I don't think it has changed since I've been a kid. But it's always had a special place, and it's good. And also, it's good to have standing there behind the goal. That's something I've always appreciated. So I'm hoping we can get an atmosphere. I'm not expecting something like Wembley atmosphere from us. But I feel like you guys will definitely up for it. Hopefully, it builds into a good game.
Yeah, fingers crossed. You mentioned earlier the evergreen strike force of Ian Henderson and Aaron Wilbraham. Will it be both of them starting up front? You sort of mentioned Wilbraham's not had a great season.
I'd imagine Wilbraham, he's been on and off all season. But I think in that game against like Boulder at the back, Wilbraham is a bit of a battering unit. He's a big lad, obviously. He's been going a while. He doesn't have legs, but he has the tactical nous. He's been a decent striker at this level. I think he went up with Bristol City about 3-4 years ago from League One. He was top scorer that season, so he does offer things at League One level. He played for Bolton in the Championship last year, so I'm hoping maybe he can find a spark to try and drag Dale over the line like he dragged Bolton over the line. In terms of Ian, I think Ian's just a god. He's the best striker we've ever had, in my opinion. He's the best striker I've ever watched. Some other Dale fans say it's Reg Jenkins from the 60s, but obviously I'm only 24, so I can't judge that. But in terms of what Ian offers, he always has offered goals, especially in a team like Dale. We're not the best team, obviously, in League One, and he's still managed to get over 17 goals. He'll probably be a top scorer again for like the 4th season running. So for me, just playing to Ian's strengths will be vital, especially towards the running. I'm just hoping he keeps his temper, because he also can have a bit of a flash upon him. If a game isn't going his way, he gets marked out of the game or something like that, he can react. So I think it's just for Ian, is just making the runs in behind Wilbraham, trying to cause havoc behind Wilbraham, and hopefully nick a goal. But as I said, I think he'll be a bit more defensively prioritised on Saturday, trying to get the point rather than trying to go for it. Yeah,
I was surprised to see him just how high he is up on that goal scoring tally, sort of. Because I knew he was having a good season. I didn't realise he was having that good a season. I think it's because he's older, so he was one of the few team players on that sort of League One top 10 list. Yeah. Sunderland weren't linked with signing, because we were linked with signing virtually everyone around deadline day, and he wasn't on our radar probably because of his age. But yeah, he is right up there. But you reckon he's sort of your second striker playing off Wilbraham?
The thing is with Keith, he drafted him into midfield and people didn't really understand it. Yeah. People thought, why are you putting the top scorer in the team in like a central attacking midfielder? He needs to be playing off the striker, running behind. And that's where he's got his goals this season, like coming off the shoulder and nipping into space in the box, playing in the box. And for a large quantity, I think we forgot what was best for our system. And we just thought, he's the best player in our team. He can drop in, he can try and create stuff. And he's not really that sort of player. That shouldn't be his job. He should be in the box, getting goals, causing havoc for defences rather than trying to build up the attacks, because he'd build up attacks and no one would be in the box and it'd just be a dead-end football basically and nothing progressed. But I think now he's getting into the box more. He scored against Gillingham the other day, typical poacher's goal from Hendo. I'm just praying he maybe gets a chance or a sniff on Saturday because I think he'll be frustrated again because he didn't really have the best game up at Stadium of Light. Matty Dunn was the lad who scored for us up there. He didn't score that day. Didn't really see him much in the game, and he started to lose his head a bit there. So it's just for him keeping sane, keeping going, and seeing if he can get a lucky break. So I think that's the only way we'll get goals on Saturdays, to maybe a Sunderland mistake rather than us carving you open.
In terms of other players to watch, last time you were on, you talked about Oliver Rathbone and how good he was, and he was sort of moving on to bigger and better things potentially. Is he still maybe the main one that might catch the eye?
He's a good player. He's still I think he's only about 22, so he's still got time on his side. He originally was picked up before the youth system. He was at Man United, and I think he was highly sought of there. But he just didn't make it United, so he's dropped down the leagues. With us, I think he's an excellent player. He offers a bit more now, so he's got a bit more attacking now compared to our other midfielders. He had a very good season. Not last season, but the season before, his breakthrough season was very impressive. But I think because of the decline of the team in general, it kind of maybe has hindered his progress. But I still expect Ollie to maybe in the next year or so be looking toward moving to a top end of League One team. Hopefully us in that time. Or maybe going on to maybe a Championship side because he's very sound for League One. But I've also said this in the past about likes of Callum Camps, who's a midfielder, and I don't think he's at that standard anymore at the moment. He might be just a form thing dipping, so we'll have to see about his progress. But we got rid of Andy Cannon in January. He went to Portsmouth. And I was quite heartbroken about him leaving because he offered a grit and determination. He's probably the best passing midfielder for me, but he left for Pompey in Jan. So it's trying to fill the hole and the role he played maybe with the likes of Camps and Rathbone. So it's taking time to adjust. But I think over the last 4 games, I see more solid in control in midfield. So I'm just hoping now we can again get the partnership going to maybe spur us on to hopefully survival. See.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously got to be the aim at this stage. And like you said, it's sort of the 2 tough games you've got, and then the 5 winnable ones potentially.
I think the last game as well, it's deja vu because we played Charlton again last day of the season. Obviously, that was the game last year where we saw Joe Thompson, the legend himself, score to keep us in the league. So I'm just hoping. Unreal. I'm hoping maybe we can get something akin to that. Maybe another late winner would be great. But I don't want to go through because I thought I had like 4 heart attacks that day. So I'd rather avoid it if possible. I'd rather get it done out of the way before that game. We'll see.
Yeah, they had a little wobble after Grant went, didn't they? And now they seem to have righted the ship. They're definitely going to be in the playoffs.
But I think that was the case last season. They were in the playoffs guaranteed by the time we played them. And I think within the last half an hour, they didn't really see the need to win the game because Plymouth were losing. And we were there and we were desperate because Oldham at the time were drawing, so they'd stayed up. So I think everyone started to get a bit restless in the crowd. I certainly was not calm. But we managed to pluck out the bag, and I'm just hoping this time we don't have to go through that stress and rely on different teams trying to keep us up instead. Because without Northampton, no matter what we had done that last day, we would not have stayed up. So I just want it to be on our own hands and to take points off the likes of Accrington coming up, to take points off the likes of Wickham at home, and hopefully go on to secure our status before the last day.
It's incredible. It's so tight. I mean, it's not. You can't even really project it or look out for other teams' results because it's half the league. I mean, it's just crazy.
Teams as well, like you said, Wickham. Like I would not expect them to beat the likes of. I think did they beat Sunderland this year?
No, they drew home and away. And away, yeah.
I think Oxford they beat Portsmouth the other week. Results like that.
They nearly beat
our cause.
They nearly beat Barnsley as well. Moore was on the bench for some reason, and then they threw it away. I mean, I think them and Plymouth are sort of the 2 teams that have enough technical players that they struggle against the lower level ones, but then can kind of come and play against the big teams as well and frustrate us.
But then there's other clubs at the bottom, like Bradford. I don't know, like the mismanagement of that club over the past year has been horrendous. I remember a couple of years ago they were going for the playoffs, so in the playoff final against Millwall. There's a season where we were like, I think we finished like 7th or 8th that season as well. We were both like that time, and it just shows how quickly football changes.
That's all on their own. I mean, I did the Bradford podcast before we played him the first time this season, and he just sounds like somebody who's meddled with the football club, had his idea's not worked, he's not been able to adapt and be humble enough to take a step back and put it right.
But it's a shame, especially for a club like Bradford, like with all the history they have to see him.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like we could maybe get out of it. I don't think Bradford will get out of it. They're like some 6 points adrift at the bottom.
Yeah, they look like the ones that are done. Wimbledon have come from nowhere. They've sort of given themselves a bit of a chance after being dead and buried 2 months ago. Yeah, no,
I think it's the cup run against West Ham which has helped them.
Yeah,
and also they beat us at Spotland. They beat us when we were at home. Let's go last minute winner against us, a penalty in the last minute just to compound it all.
Yeah, that's sick of that.
It's just giving belief from that point. I think Wimbledon at the moment they've won out 4 out of 5.
Yeah, that's an absolute sickener.
Terrible, mate. But you get used to it as a Dale fan anyway, mate. So hopefully not again Saturday, but we'll have to see.
They were the first team really to sort of give us our welcome to League One games. Sort of scored crossing the box, long throws. They should have beat us. And somehow Lee Barry Cattermole volley at the back post with 5 minutes to go, and we took all 3 points. It's incredible.
It's what he does.
Yeah.
Iniesta, that kid.
Oh my god. He may or may not be back. He had a knock and he missed the 18 against Accrington, which was a shame because he obviously played really well in the XTRA Trophy final before the penalty miss, and it would have been nice to see him get his redemption. But I don't think he will be starting. He might be in the 18.
Well, he played against us in September and he looked to cut above our midfield. So if he is out or if he's on the bench, it's a bit of a boost. I'm hoping. But then again, Ledbetter, I don't know what Ledbetter's going to offer. So we'll have to see in that and see if he can replace Cattermole, maybe that whole.
Yeah,
there's still 2 quality centre midfielders for this.
Yeah. Ledbetter's definitely a better technician and a better passer.
Yeah.
He's definitely helped the team a lot. I think it will be Ledbetter if he's fit enough to go with Dylan McGeoch, who was by all accounts man of the match against Accrington after having not really played for us in the last 2 months. Sort of Ledbetter's sign-in pushed him aside and he came back and played really well. So that was huge. That was a huge one sort of for Sunderland fans to see a guy who had split opinion, who'd had some bad games, had some good games come in and play really well. That was like, oh yes, get in, good on you kind of moment. And it was the same with Wyke actually.
Was it in January, was it, that he signed?
No, we got him in the summer, and apparently he was unreal in pre-season. I don't watch pre-season, but like all the journalists, the lads who write for the site who are at pre-season games are like, oh yeah, this fella's going to be our best player, and then picks up an injury, comes back, doesn't look great. He's a guy who used to really frustrate me because he's one of these guys who sort of, he's got very good technique and he's got really good close control, but you're just like, for God's sake, just get out your feet and pass it quickly. Just get it forwards and like need to go backwards quite a bit. But he was very good sort of first to every loose ball on Wednesday. His passing was better. His passing was a bit quicker. Together. Yeah, so I reckon he'll stick with him.
Yeah.
How have you boys got on against sort of the big six? You also mentioned you're hammering against Doncaster, but have you been able to pick up points against the big teams, or is that another reason you're down there?
What is shocking me this year is the fact that Luton are top and seem to be running away with it. I remember when we played them at home in December, just before our rot started, we played them and we drew 0-0, but we played them off. Should have beat them. Yeah. Should have beat them quite comfortably. Missed a few opportunities, missed a couple of one-on-ones. And I looked back in the game and I thought, I don't know how they're in the top six. And I thought at the time it was just false positioning for us and them. Like, hopefully, if that's the case, we can perform against them like that. And hopefully we'll start pushing up the table. Obviously, it wasn't the case. And Luton have gone into an extra gear, and you can tell that now they're starting to just play football where they only look like they're automatically promoted, to be honest. I would be very surprised if they dropped into the playoffs. Portsmouth, we always have a torrid time against Portsmouth away, so that's why I'm really dreading going for Fratton Park later this month. I'm trying to think, Barnsley. Barnsley is second or the third now?
They're second. We've got 2 games in hand on them. Yeah. They're second.
Barnsley, again, we played them away about February time, And we took the lead against them. We took the lead, threw away the lead instantly, and they went and scored a winner. But I don't think they were that special, in all fairness. I don't know who the teams... Is it Charlton and Charlton Doncaster below you?
Yeah. So we're third. Portsmouth have still got a shot of automatic in fourth. Yeah. And then Charlton are going to be in the playoffs, and that's a case of Doncaster are sixth at the moment. I think they're the sixth best team, but there's still a chance that say your Blackpools, your Coventries, or your Peterboroughs could nip in and take that last spot.
I think Peterborough have been a bit of an underachievement again this year, to be honest.
So much individual talent,
they've just not seemed to gel.
Yeah, that Tembele, he looked unbelievable at the start of the season. Brilliant dribbler. Then Maddison's coming off the bench for them sometimes, and you're thinking, this talent-wise is one of the 2 or 3 best teams. Yeah,
but they just seem to... It's the same last year, to be honest. They were challenging last year and then they faded. I'd probably say, in all fairness, out of the top 6, you and Doncaster are the teams which have blown us away the most. Barnsley beat us at home 4-0 at the beginning of the season, but we weren't really on it that night at all. We just gave the game to Barnsley. I feel like at Sunderland against Doncaster, we got taught lessons. Yeah. But we've done terribly, really, against the top 6. That's one of the things that I think I've realised over the last couple of seasons, is that we don't really seem to take the points off the top teams. Yeah. Before about 2016-17 season, we finished our highest ever place, 8th place, and before that, despite coming up in 2013-14, we'd always been we'd been in the top 10 pretty much every season. We've been taking points off the likes of Sheffield United regularly. Charlton, we'd done a double over them, also been in League One, beating teams at the top like Scunthorpe when they were at top. Shrewsbury last season, when they got to the playoff final, we beat them at home, and it was one of the instigators in terms of how we turned our season round. This season, we've just managed nothing against them. We've beaten Blackpool, we beat Coventry away, and that's it in terms of like the top 9, really. So that is where our issue is lying. Is taking points.
Would you put that down to your sort of dodgy defence, or is there another specific reason? Yeah,
it's been laughable at times. Just the goal difference itself. We're managing to claw it back more and more, because more teams are starting to lose games. It's starting to drag us back in the mix. But I think at one point we had a -30 odd goal difference, which is relegation fodder left, right, and centre. It's just in recent weeks we managed to steady it up. But before that, defensively, we've just been horrendous, really. But I think there's a couple of factors for that. I think we relied a lot on loan signings before the last couple of seasons in centre half. We used to have Jack O'Connell, who's at Sheffield United.
Yeah. He's
doing well there. Defender in Championship standards, so God knows how he ended up here. We've had other defenders like Ashley Eastham. He plays at Fleetwood now, and he's a decent defender. He literally left before last season, before the Rocks started going towards relegation candidates. He was keeping us afloat there. We've had Joe Rafferty move on to Preston as well. Sam Hart, he's moved over to Southend. So it's been rejigging defence as well. I think some of it is to blame for recruitment. Some of it's just the fact that we're at our level. We can't afford to go and get a Jack O'Connell on a permanent transfer. We can't afford to show up defence like that. But I think for Saturday, one of the benefits of the last 4 games is seeing the likes of Entele come in the centre half. He's come in, he scored a couple of goals from set pieces. He offers more solidarity at the back. He's more inclined with Jim McNulty. There's a better relationship between the pair of them. And they just seem more solid. And I'm hoping he can just continue that form to the rest of the season, because he was at first a left back and it wasn't really working for him. He had the pace, but he didn't really have the tactical nous. But I think now he's been moving to centre half. He's more focused in his game, and it's benefiting the people around him as a result.
Yeah, and was that
boost it a bit?
Was that a Brian Murphy move? Or?
It was, yeah. It was a big Brian move for BBM. He thought he'd have a gamble, unfortunately. But now it's paying off. It's just whether it'll work on Saturday without Lonergan behind him. But that's Saturday. Hopefully I'm at 5 o'clock Saturday evening. I'm toasting the entire masterclass. But it'll be very difficult, especially against a striker like Will Grigg. He always loves a goal against us. So
I'm hoping he's fit, because I mean the goal he scored against Accrington, it's that touch of class. I mean his winner against Walsall as well, same thing. It's just, even if he's quiet, he can just finish in a way that other strikers at this level can't.
He's the best striker at this level without a doubt. Played for Wigan the year before this, didn't he?
Yeah,
He came from Wigan, yeah, and he was very good for Wigan. Surprised to let him go, to be honest, that quickly, in all fairness. But he's done it with Wigan, he's done it with like some Walsall at this level, MK Dons. He's very used to playing at League One. He knows how to score goals at this level, so he'll be a massive concern as always. And he'll definitely bag a goal. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't score when it comes to Saturday. So it's just about hopefully keeping him as quiet as possible. But for this level, definitely cut above. For me, one of the best replacements you could have got for Madju is him.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's one of those where I think with the ankle injury that he picked up just before he came here, we haven't seen him at his absolute best, but we've still seen sort of those one or two moments of just absolute quality. And yeah, like he scored a couple brilliant goals recently, and you're just hoping he can keep that between now and May. I think it's that time, mate.
As long as it's not on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, likewise, with your chance of getting out of this relegation dogfight, all starts 5 p.m. Saturday, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What do you reckon then? Let's have a score prediction.
I'm gonna go. I said it to Connor. I said in September, I'll be very happy if we score a goal.
Yeah.
So we scored a goal now, so that's fine by me. So we got a goal in September in Stadium Light. I was very happy. At home, if he gave me a draw right now, I'd snatch your hand off. I'll take the draw. I think my heart says draw, my head says defeat.
Yeah, my gut is sort of saying this is too good to be true.
Yeah.
Sunderland, just when they've got it in their own hands, when the momentum's building, this has heartbreaking 1-1 draw written all over it. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say 2-0 Sunderland. Yeah. I'm not gonna be that guy.
I don't think it's unrealistic, to be honest.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. We can just keep this run going. Well, Alex, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you as well, mate. Thank you.
Top man. And thanks everyone for listening. As always, rate and give us a review if you've enjoyed the show. And stay tuned to this podcast feed, because I'm sure Alex and the boys will have all the fallout from the big game at Spotland for you come Monday, or maybe even a bit later. So look out for that one, and thanks a lot.
Some exchange betting companies run short-lived promotions, like months-long offers of low commission. At BetDAG, we wanted to change the way we did things, so we set our commission at 2% permanently. That's 2% on football, horse racing, golf, almost any sport. 2%. That's just one way that BetDAG is changing for the better. For the better, like you. BetDAG, the 2% commission exchange.
Over 18s only. Please gamble responsibly.